That's Talia Janae, and welcome back to the Licensed Yapper podcast. Hey everyone! I haven't seen y'all in a week. I've missed y'all. And I haven't seen y'all in that long for a reason. Trust me, it's for a reason. I didn't forget about you. Trust me, y'all are my day ones. I love y'all forever. I'll be doing this podcast for as long, hopefully forever. So this is definitely not like a, yo, Talia just disappeared on us. No. I took a week off because a lot has happened in my life. And I don't even know where to start, y'all. Like, I feel like my life has been all over the place the past week, the past 2 weeks. Like, so many things have happened. I've had blessings happen. I've had blessings in disguise happen. Okay, disguise is the key word. I really didn't expect a lot of things that happened to me in the past 2 weeks to happen, but when I look back, it was all for a reason and it was all like supposed to happen. It just like happened at a really weird time. And yeah, the thoughts have been everywhere and I just really needed a week to decompress. Like I just really needed time to get my thoughts together and to really speak my words wisely. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm like heated or upset or I'm not in like the Talia mindset, I can say things that I probably don't really mean in that moment just because I'm just popping off at the mouth. And I really wanted to choose my words wisely and to figure out what I really wanted to talk about. Because I think if I would have recorded last week, y'all, it wouldn't have been a pretty podcast. Like so much has happened and we have so much to talk about and we'll get into everything. And um yeah, I'm honest on here. I choose to be honest and that's what I'm gonna do. But before we get into all the mess, okay, we're gonna get into some pop culture topics. Now, this first topic is pretty serious, and I feel like as a black woman, as a black person, I need to talk about this because if I didn't, then I feel like it wouldn't feel right to me to not talk about it. So, this is a really important topic. Okay, so I'm pretty sure if you're, you know, not living under a rock and you're on social media and you're on TikTok, even if you're watching the news, then you might have heard about the situation with the 18-year-old Nolan Wells. And it's a crazy situation. First off, let's just say that. Nolan was a black man, 18, and he went on the 4th of July, went to this, I don't know, like island in Mississippi, I guess. There's like this little island patch of land surrounded by water, not even like a real island or whatever. That's stupid. But Nolan went on this. Nolan's from Mississippi, and you'll get why I'm saying it like that when you hear the story. But Nolan went with a group of friends to like this little island spot in Mississippi for the 4th of July, and Nolan ended up being missing. And those friends came back to land, came back home, and Nolan was not with them. This group of friends were all white, and it was just Nolan, the only black male in this friend group that was there. Now, as someone, and I wanted to talk about this topic because I've been seeing so much discourse on the internet talking about now why would he go on a trip with these guys? Why would he be the only black guy there? Like black men and black females and black kids need to have black friends and why are they the only black person in the group and all this discourse online, and it's kind of irritating me because it's like, why are we putting this on Nolan? Like and it's not everybody, trust me, it's not everybody with this with this crazy take. It's just some people in the comment section have brought this up and it's just like, yo, like have y'all not? And it's just like, I don't think people realize how common that is in our culture. First of all, it did come out that Nolan is no longer with us and they found his body and he is, was pronounced deceased, which is completely unacceptable and not okay. Nolan should be here today. But the only people who know what happened on that island are the people that were there, Nolan and Jesus himself. Hopefully, we pray that there is justice for his family. But I wanted to bring this up because, first of all, I was tired of hearing people say that in the comments. And I'm just like, yo, crazy to say because this 18-year-old boy, not even man, he's a child, 18 years old boy, okay, was just found dead. And y'all are talking about how he should have known to not be the only one, like the only black person there. Didn't his parents teach him like crazy stuff? And as, a black person who grew up in the South, I'm from Louisiana, I don't think people realize how common it is. I don't really know that specific area of Mississippi, but I know in Louisiana, like, you grow up when you're a black person living in the suburbs and you live in predominantly white areas, it is not uncommon for you only to have white friends. It's not uncommon at all. And typically you have black friends, but they're like two separate groups. Like you have like one group that you realize like you're like the only black girl or like the only black guy in that group. And then you have like a friend group where it's just like all black people. That's typically, I feel like, how it ends up going for black kids in predominantly white areas. And when I look back at, me growing up in the South, again, Louisiana, and he's in Mississippi, like probably also two of the most like racist states, they're South. The South states there's always going to be racist people. There's always going to be weird white people because it's just the South and that's just what it is. But when I look back at my childhood, I 100% up until now have had way more white friends than I did black friends. And I think it just has to do again with the culture. Like I grew up being the only black kid in my classes up until a certain point, and then if it wasn't just I was the only one, it was probably me and one other girl, or me and one other black guy, or me, one other black guy, one other girl. Like it was always just like me and two other people, especially when I think back to like elementary school. I wasn't like ever the majority. Like ever. And when we got older and middle school was a little better, and then in high school it was better too, but I always ended up being 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 5 or the only one, especially growing up in sports as well. Like I can count on my hand how many black people are on my cheer team. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it is. And even though like I think I grew up in especially like there's like 3 main high schools in my parish, and like there's like one high school where it's like majority black, and then one high school where it's like majority white, and then one high school that's like majority white but it's a good mix of both. That's the high school I went to. I was very fortunate to go to a high school where it was majority white people, but there was a good percentage of black people there, where sometimes it didn't look like it was all majority white, but it was 100%. It was. So I'm lucky that I grew up, I guess, out of the 3 schools at a school like that, I guess, but that's so normal. Like I have grown up being the only black girl in a friend group, and when you're a kid, you don't think about, even at 18, sorry, at 18 to me you're still a child. You're still a kid, you're still a teenager. At 8, when you're the only one in a friend group, especially like the only black person in a friend group, you don't really think about the out factors that other people are thinking about. As I've gotten older, I have realized like, wow, what I was in that only black friend, like, as I've gotten older, I've definitely realized, and with like, I don't know, time, and as you get older, especially as a black person, you start to realize certain things. You start to realize what your position was as the only in that friend group. you start to look back at the weird things or the weird comments that were made, you definitely understand it way more than you did back then. When you're in it, like I remember when I was, let's say, the only black girl out of my group of friends, it's hard. Of course, you know you're black and you'll always know you're black and you'll just always know you're a black person. I feel like black people always walk around knowing that we're black, whereas like white people walk around just walking around, like, you know what I mean? They just walk around. They just live life. Whereas we always know we're black. Like we wake up, we know we're black. Like that's I feel like that's always something we acknowledge about ourselves. And I remember being a kid and like I knew I was the only black girl in the friend group, but and I was aware of it. I was so aware of it. I knew I was, okay? I knew I was. It was a thought that played through my brain. I knew I was the only black girl in the friend group. But on the other side, you don't really think much into it. The only time it like reroutes over and over again in your brain that, oh, I am the only black girl, I am the only black girl, as if they'll say, as if like white people say things like, if they're like trying to describe a person, they'll be like, oh, the black guy, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm black. Or like in situations like it'll be like they'll be trying to describe someone and like you can tell that they're trying not to say black and you obviously realize they're not trying to say black, so you just say the black person. Or when certain jokes are made that aren't funny, you clock it, or just certain things that they say, which now were microaggressions at the time, but they were kids at the time, which doesn't make it acceptable, but like, okay, now you realize those certain things were microaggressions. You just didn't do anything about it. Even though in your brain you clocked it every time, you always noticed it, you always clocked it. If there wasn't another black person around, you didn't really clock it in person. Now, like we like look for the other black person to make eye contact, like yo, you heard that, like you peeped that, like. But as a kid, and at that time, you acknowledge it and you know it, you peep it, but you don't really think much into it because you still like, well, these are my friends. Whereas now I'm 24 years old, I'm way more confident than I am. I was outspoken back then, but I'm way more outspoken now, that I notice a lot more than I do now. And to put this on Nolan is insane. I think every black person I feel like grew up with the talk of like, be aware of your surroundings. My mother didn't just say that because of strangers and stranger danger. There was a level of the race aspect, the race aspect, ex, the race part of her saying that. 100% sure, especially if we were going somewhere where it was like a party or like something. It was always, be aware of your surroundings, okay, please, because they knew we were probably going to be the only black person in this at this party, or probably one of five, one of six, one of 10, and you think, whoa, 10's a lot, but it really isn't. It really isn't a lot. And I'm 100% sure Nolan had that talk too. But when you're in it and you think you're around your friends and you think you're around people that you trust, some of that kind of goes out the window. And to see people blame him for this is insane. I think there's racism everywhere, all over, whether you're in the north, you live on the east side, the west side, wherever you live. I feel like there's racism everywhere and there's so many things black people go through, but I think as being a black person living in the South, there is so much like you keep it all the time. I remember being in middle school, 8th grade, I think, and like a white person is telling me at PE, I remember his name, I remember his face, I remember everything about him. I remember he said like yo, like if we were back then, you like I would own you. You would be my slave to someone else, to another black girl at the time. And I remember I was so angry about that, and I was like going off on him. And like I remember I like reported it to ISSP, and I like started crying when I was telling the ISSP teacher like what was going on. And I remember specifically that ISS like teacher or the guy who was white laughing at me. Like he would like do a little couple chuckles in my face while I'm crying, telling him what happened. 100% it happened. Like, I swear it happened. And I remember that. And it's because that's just what it is, you know? And I didn't call him out on that in the moment, but I peeped it and I remember it for the rest of my life. And I don't think a lot of people realize what it really is like being black in the South, even though it's 2026, even though it's the 2010s, and you think like racism is not that blatant. It is. And you just pick up on certain things. Those three, whatever it is, all those white boys know what happened to Nolan. And the fact that when they came back, they all lawyered up real fast, took down, disabled the social media, and then one of them's a judge. One of them's parents is a judge in that town, in that city. Guys, come on. Like, what are we doing? To put any blame on Nolan is crazy, is insane. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say Nolan should have. No. Nolan thought he was with his friends at the end of the day. And I'm telling you, when you grow up in a predominantly area, you notice you are the only one, but and you hear your parents telling you to watch your surroundings, and you hear the microaggression sometimes, but you sometimes block it out because sometimes you don't want to be a black teenage boy or a black teenage girl. You just want to be a girl and a boy hanging out with your friends. And that's just sometimes what you want to be. And sometimes, yeah, you want to be low-key delusional and low-key just erase all of that and just be with your friends. And to think that, there really isn't anything different about us. And we all laugh about the same things. We all play the same sport. We all get along. We all watch. We all have the same sense of humor. We're all just friends. Sometimes you just want to take out all the external factors and just be in the moment and just be a teenage boy having fun with their friends and being a teenage girl having fun with their friends. But in reality, you are a black teenage boy and you are a black teenage girl. That's just what it is. And it takes time, it takes maturity, and it takes age to really realize what you went through. When I look back at my high school experience, my middle school experience, even my elementary school experience, I can pull probably 5 microaggressions right now that happened to me in each stage of life. From high school, I could tell you like 20, 30 of them. You look past it. And sometimes I spoke up and I said something about it, but most of the time you just look for the other black person and you just make eye contact and you notice each other and but sometimes you don't want to say anything because you don't want to be like that black kid or like to you know what I mean? Like, I don't think people understand what it's really like, especially when you're in an environment like that. As you get older, you realize it for sure. And I think like, after high school, my friend group got black. I was also someone who, like, I got, like, the whitewash allegations, which was so annoying. At the time, it was annoying. And I remember, like, in middle school, I think it was also 8th grade, a black guy who I was, like, friendly with. We were, like, school friends. I thought we were friends. And and he told me in class, he was like, till you act like a white girl. And I remember that hit me so hard. And what came out of my mouth was wrath. I was like, girl, da 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 da, it's crazy for you to even say that to me. I like go off on him. And I remember one of my white friends, her name was Maddie. Hey, Maddie. She was like, Talia's not white. Talia doesn't act like a white girl. She's just Talia. And I was like, period. Thank you, Maddie. Period. But I was so mad for him to say that. And I don't think people understand. We get it from both sides, right? From white people, we get weird comments. From black people, we get told we're trying to be white or we're whitewashed or whatever. It's a lose-lose situation, okay? Especially living in the South, you get it all the time. All the time. All of the time. Do you know how many things have been thrown at me about, like, and I think a lot of times people didn't really say anything about me, but I could tell they were. Like, I could tell, like, the white kids that I was around felt comfortable to say certain things around me. And I got to a point where I was like, yo, the comfortability's crazy. It got crazy. But I could tell there were certain things that they would say that they probably wouldn't say around other people that were black. But because I'm a friend and I'm around all the time, they thought they could say it around me. Or, being, with black people and them like saying that I'm whitewashed and saying that I'm trying to act white and like, or sometimes like, to be honest, they wouldn't really say much to me. He's probably the one black guy to ever say something to me, but you can tell that they are talking about it or talking about you that way. Like, I remember there was a group of black girls that didn't really talk to me like that. Like, I remember two of them spoke to me that way because I grew up with two of them. I was really more friends with two of them, but like the rest of the friends, I could tell that they were always kind of iffy with me and they never like really accepted me really. And I think that has to play the part. I think people just do that, okay? We have biases against different people. That's just how it is. But I wanted to sit here and defend his name, because I think we all know, and I've seen so many TikToks of black people being like, yo, I was Nolan. I was Nolan with who only had white friends, or who was the only black guy in a white friend group. We know what it feels like. We know what it's like. And I'm telling you right now, Nolan peeped all the microaggressive moments, but Nolan just wanted to be a kid. And to put this on him is insane. And I hope his family gets justice. Of course, it has to be in Mississippi. I don't know what their justice system is like, but I can say this. If Nolan was white and he was with a whole bunch of black guys and that white kid got left, this would be national news. This would be all over the place. All those boys would be locked up, okay? They'd be locked up with no bail. They'd be sitting in a jail cell right now. And that's all I'm going to say. And it wouldn't matter if their dad was a lawyer or if their mom was a judge. They would be locked up. And nobody can tell me they wouldn't be, because they would. Mississippi, bro, they would have gotten those kids and locked them up too fast, okay? Way too fast. And everybody knows that's true. And I'm so sick of the negative narratives that are coming on social media. And you know what? The majority is on Nolan's side and is on Nolan's family side. But for those people that have the nerve to sit behind their phone and comment stuff like, why would he, didn't his parents, da 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 da, you're insane. You're insane. This young boy lost his life, and he was a good kid. And even if he wasn't a good kid, I even hate that. Like, oh, when he was a good kid, he was an athlete, he had good grades. Even if he was not a good kid, quote unquote good kid, and he didn't have good grades and he wasn't on a football scholarship, and yeah, and let's say he did get in trouble a couple times, it still wouldn't matter. That doesn't determine if his life is important or not. I'm so sick of that too. It's like, oh, if he was a good black kid, like what is that? I can't stand that. It doesn't matter what his behavior was. Period. He's dead. He's an 18-year-old who's dead, and that's all that matters. And I know his parents were just on the Today Show, but I really hope that there's justice for him. I feel like there's so many people that you know, white people that die, and it makes national news. We're talking about it forever, and when it's black people, especially black men, and I feel like when it's black people, it gets talked about and then swept under the rug, and that annoys me so much. And I really hope there's justice for for his parents, for his family, for his friends. I really hope there's justice that goes into this, and I'm praying for his family, and I'm praying that all of this comes out, because those friends know what happened. Nolan knows what happened. Nolan's gone, okay? And like I said earlier, the only people who know what happened is Nolan, and he is sadly not with us anymore. Those friends that were on the boat, and Jesus himself. And you know what? I believe that there will be justice here, but I don't think people really understand what it's like growing up in the South as a black person, and the things you witness, the things you hear, and you notice it and you pick up on it and you talk about it amongst your friends, but you don't really truly get it until like you're out of it. And when you look back at moments, you're like, yo, that was really messed up. And like, I wish I was this person back then because I wouldn't be okay with it. I wasn't okay with it, but I wouldn't just let it slide as easy as it did. I would 100% challenge it a lot more. And like, I think every black person who grew up in the South and the majority white town, city, whatever, has been, the only one before. And we all know what that feels like. Um, and I just feel like I need to speak about it because it's so important. And I feel like, I bring up race sometimes on this podcast, but I don't talk about it enough. And when this happened, every video that pops up, I have to watch it because new information comes out all the time and it's looking real guilty on these friends' parts. The story originally was these friends took the phone to Nolan's mom, and this, keep in mind, now it's come out that Nolan's mom had to go find his phone. Nolan's mom had to go find Nolan. No one notified Nolan's family. He had to go find. They had to go find him. Crazy, crazy. And I just hope there's justice in this situation. And lay off of young black kids, bro. Lay off of us, okay? We just want to be kids, We acknowledge that we're black and we acknowledge that is our experience and our experience is going to be different. But when you're just with your friends, sometimes you want to eliminate that because you also feel like you're in a safe space, okay? And I just lay off. I hate those comments. They're stupid. They're ignorant. One, so ignorant. And especially when they come from other black people, it's like, yo, like what? What are we doing? It's just so annoying. And I just needed to speak about that because I felt like it would be wrong for me not to acknowledge this. And I needed to. Now, guys, I'm about to rip in to what I've been like not really wanting to talk about because I'm so over talking about it. But I feel like on this podcast, I talk a lot about friendship dynamics all the time. You guys know my history with friendships. They're not great. But I feel like I can say with whole heart that I am a really good friend. If any of my friends are watching this and I have done something that has hurt y'all's feelings, please let me know. I am someone who wants accountability. I want, constructive criticism, especially from the people that I say I love. I want you guys to tell me if I ever do anything that I hurt your feelings or anything of the sort. But I think I'm an overall good friend. We all have our moments, but I think I am. I really do think I am. And I was with one of my day ones, Julia. One of my day ones. That girl will be my day one till the end of time. Okay? That girl knows so much about me. We know so much about each other. I love her. I need her on the podcast. What's crazy about Julia is Julia knows me so well. I've known Julia since high school, which you might be thinking, okay. But the crazy thing is Julia's a year younger than me, and when me and her met, we clicked instantly. Okay, we clicked instantly. We cheered together, which is why, like, we were even, like, in the same circle. We cheered together, and we got insanely close. I think even after cheer, we got even more close. Like, she's my girl. I don't see her all the time. She's also one of those friends that's like, I might not see her all the time. We may not talk all the time, but we have a good time when we're together, and we just love to, like, rant with each other. And she will be my day one. She will be a bridesmaid in my wedding. She will always be in my life. I don't plan on getting married anytime soon, but best believe, Julia girl, you will be a bridesmaid. And I feel like you know that. I feel like that's very apparent. You will be standing by my side when I get married. Okay? I love her down. And I was talking to her about this big situation that happened about with a friend or a so-called friend. Someone who disguises themselves as a friend and aren't really a friend. I can't stand those. But before we get into it, I was talking to her and she was like, you know what, Talia, like, we have kind of the same thing. We were kind of the same people in the way of, like, we both speak our mind. We're both opinionated. We're not afraid of confrontation at all. Okay? At all. And we speak our minds and we just don't let things go unspoken. If something's crazy, we're going to talk about it. We're going to speak on it. But and we have boundaries. We have boundaries. We respect ourselves a lot, and there's boundaries that we both set. But for some reason, with friends, we let our guard down. And it has bit me in the butt so many times. I don't remember the exact verbiage she used, but she was basically just like, with friends though, I basically let my guard down and I let things happen. And I feel like I truly do sometimes, like, I feel like with like my real true friends, okay, the people that I have in my life right now, we hold each other accountable, we speak life into each other. But I am, and I feel like I am someone who lets my friends slide way too much because I just love them so much. I have professed my love for my friends on this podcast from day one. I think in every podcast episode, I have spoken about how much my friends mean to me, how much they are a priority in my life, and just how much I care. I truly, truly care for them. When I call you my friend, and I don't call everybody a friend, when I call you my friend, and you truly become in my brain of people I care about. There's a whiteboard in my brain, and on that whiteboard of people I care about, you get added to that list. I truly care about you. I will be there for you. You call me, I'll be there. You text me, I'll be there. You are now my people. I see it as that. Like, you are my people now. I love you truly, and I truly want. I really, really like care for you as a person. It's way deeper just a friend. I care about you as a person. You can come to me with anything. And I think even my mom told me this, I have such a big heart. I really do. And I really let people hurt me a lot. And I see it coming. What's crazy is I always peep the weird activity. It never goes unnoticed. I peep it all the time. And I feel like you know, oh, and with her saying like that's so true. I do let my guard down with my friends because I become vulnerable with my friends real quick. Like, I've cried with my friends, I've prayed with my friends. We have gotten so deep, so deep. And so I feel like when I'm that vulnerable with you, there's a mutual respect that is formed. There's a bond that is formed. Call it trauma bonding, call it whatever, we bond. And to me, that bond is very important. And I think like I put my friends on a very high list, I guess. I treat my friends with the utmost respect. I The standards that I have for my friends, the way I treat my friends, I don't expect anybody to treat me the way I treat them necessarily. I do, but like, I think everybody's a different kind of friend. Everybody moves differently, everybody's kind of different. But I feel like if I show you how much I care about you as a person, I do expect the same back in a way of like, you know, being treated. I think everybody's glass is to be filled. You fill my glass, I fill yours. I think that's just how it should work in your group of people, whether it's in relationships, friendships, whatever it is. If there's respect there, I feel like both glasses should be full or should be filled. And I've realized about myself, sometimes I really think that like, yo, okay, I've definitely found my people like I said about my girl Julia. Like, I've definitely found people that will 100% be bridesmaids in my wedding. Like, I found them 100%. And then things happen where you're like, what? That was crazy. But it's always like, but I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. You always know when that so-called friend that you end up losing has always been weird and has done weird activity, but you look past it because you have so much history with them. You got so close with them so fast. Like, you see past things. You look past them, you put them to the side, even though you are peeping them. And I think in the beginning, with a certain friendship, okay, I, peeped certain things from the beginning. But again, I'm making a new friend. I'm not gonna like find things to be like, nah, I'm not gonna be friends with this person. I give people the benefit of the doubt. as I hope people give me that sometimes, but some people don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, as I've learned. But I think, you know, um, with like this certain friend, I really gave the benefit of the doubt early on. Early on, weird things, weird comments, weird behaviors. I clocked it really fast. Cause that's just the type of person I am. Like, I'm gonna notice those things, and in my brain, it's like I noted. Like, okay, noted, weird, just weird, noted. And then when more people started becoming friends with, we started becoming friends with other people, and we started forming this little group of friends. Now, at that time when it was just me and her chilling and hanging out, I didn't have anybody to co-sign with. Like, like weird things happen and like you look at somebody. I didn't have that. I was just noticing it myself. And then when, our circle became a little bigger and I started noticing that other people were also noticing the weird things that were being said by this person and the weird behaviors, and we would clock it and be like, or like give each other looks, or like even text each other like, yo, that was weird. Wasn't that weird what so and so just said? Now I felt like, okay, I'm not crazy. I have people that are seeing the weird behavior. And what sucks is you always see it and then you get bit in the butt. Like, it's always you that ends up like, that ends up like the sorry people. Like, I knew it. I'm so much, I know better than this. I have been through, not the best friendships. I have been through friendships that I did not like how I was being appreciated, and I swept stuff under the rug for so long. And look how it ended. I'm not friends with those people anymore. I've done it before. I've experienced this way too many times. Why do I keep not, like, why didn't I notice? And I think, and like, you might be thinking this is just a normal friendship breakup, but I think it's a little different. I think it's different when like you spend all your time with those people. I become close with someone fast. I'm 100% in the beginning very wary of people, like very a little, I gotta fill you out a little bit. I think with all of my friendships that I have now, with all the people that are like my best friends, we all started off kind of like iffy, or I started off kind of like at arm's length a little bit, because I just like to peep out a person, how a person moves, and then when something happens that I feel like clicks or bonds us, I'm in it, yo. We're friends. We're hanging out all the time. We're talking all the time. It's just what it is. And that's just the kind of person I am. Like, I give my all into everything I do. Friendships, relationships, whatever it is, I'm giving my all into it. Which is a blessing and a curse, because look what happened. But this is like deeper than just like a friendship breakup. It's like because the friendship has been on its last leg for a minute now. Okay? It's been on there for a minute. And I think I did move differently in this situation than I did in other situations, other friendships when I look back at it, because I feel like I respected myself a lot more this time than I did before. I set my boundaries. I spoke my mind. Um, and I stood by what I believed and what I felt, and I stood by it. Usually, and when I think back in the past, I knew how I felt, but I didn't really I voiced it sometimes, but I don't know, I kind of undermined my own feelings. I was very stern in my feelings this time. Like, yo, like, definitely put space between me and that other person. I was just like, I'm not gonna be chilling with people that I think are ops or that I think are sneaky, or that take what I say and run it to the next person. Like, just weird, 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 yo, weird. And when you're so invested in this one person, like this one friendship, I was really close with their family, and we were just in each other's lives, like really embedded in each other's lives so quickly that when it fell apart, all of it fell apart. And I did, but I walk away saying, you know what? I did everything in my power. When you can walk away from a friendship or from a relationship saying, I did everything in my power to try to save this thing, to try and protect it, to try and see past certain things. I tried my best to protect this relationship. And if it ends, and in the end, if it falls apart, I know that I did everything in my being to stop that from happening, and it happened. And that's just, I have to say, that's just what God intended it to be. I did everything I could to not, even after all the weird comments and behaviors that this person was doing and portraying, I still tried to preserve the friendship. But every friendship goes both ways. If you are trying to preserve and to save something and the other person is doing everything but that, it's not gonna work. Everything takes two to tango. A relationship takes two to tango. A friendship takes two to tango. Anything takes two to tango. You can't do it on your own. And I've tried and I held my mouth, my thoughts for so long because I'm also known that I am somebody that if I just speak what I'm thinking all the time, it may not come out the best. And I've tried so hard. But when you feel like your feelings are not being noticed, that's when I check out all the way. Is when I feel like I am not being appreciated, what I'm saying is not being heard, it's going in one ear out the other. When I feel like I'm not being understood, or like you're purposely trying to not understand me, because there were points where I was like, I feel like I'm being so clear. I'm being so clear. But for some reason, everybody is walking around like I am speaking French. Or I am speaking pure English. I'm expressing how I'm feeling. I'm expressing my boundaries. I'm expressing everything, and nobody is taking me seriously until I'm being serious, and then it's like, whoa, and it gets crazy, and it's like, yo, Talia, and it's like, yo, no, like I have told you so many times, I have tried to protect this, I have tried to voice to you, and for some reason it's not going through anyone's brain, and like and what's crazy is because of the deterioration of that friendship, I lost way much more. Not only did I lose that friendship, I lost the family that I was close with, and I also lost my job. Now, now if you know me, you really know what I'm talking about. And which is, you know what? I think a blessing in disguise. I think God has so much planned for me. These past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks, I have realized how much my life is about to change. My life is in the mix of turning upside down. And I think that was a factor that needed to end for me to move forward. I've realized that, I think everything is, God has a plan. Do I think like God made certain situations happen so this could happen? No. I think God knows what he's doing and God has a plan, but I think again he's gave us free will, and there's certain things that he would not accept that have happened from my end and from their end, because we're just people and we make mistakes and we're not perfect. But do I think overall, was it time for me to leave that place? Did he know it was time for me? Yeah. Did the way it ended was between me and those people. It ended that way because we allowed it to end that way, because we're imperfect people and imperfect people do imperfect things. But, and I think for a while when it happened, like that last week when I didn't post a podcast, I was angry, guys. I think I was just so angry. I felt so betrayed. I felt pure wrath. Okay? Anger. No other emotion. I wasn't sad. I wasn't I was just angry. I was so angry that whole weekend. I got fired on a Thursday, and that Friday I was angry, that Saturday I was angry, that Sunday I was angry, and Monday I was angry. It was all kind of lessening, and then now, am I still upset about the situation? If I still talk about it, if I like talk about it, do I get angry again? Yes. But it's pure anger when I think about it, because it's just like so insane, crazy to me. And I think what even makes me more upset is that like they're still not taking any accountability, because people also think that you don't hear things, that people aren't going to come to you with things. Crazy pants. Like, I got good people everywhere, babe. And there's people everywhere that respect me enough and that care for me that will tell me certain things. And I hear things all the time. I'm hearing the chirping, okay? And the fact that they are still not taking accountability is what really makes me upset and what really makes me angry. That like there's people walking around like I'm just this aggressive, mean, mad person. Not once. There's nobody in my life that would describe me as a mean person ever. The words that I feel like that are spoken about me are happy, bubbly, laughs all the time, loud, opinionated, mean, not ever, aggressive, never. Those words, people don't use those words to describe me. That's just not who I am, ever. I can speak up for myself, and if you think speaking up for yourself and and being your biggest advocate is being aggressive, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Get out of here with that. I'm not going to accept that. I'm not even going to say that's your opinion. No, you're wrong. Period. Like, you're crazy for that. Like, especially for people that I feel like have known me for so long. Like, that's how you see me. Crazy. And like, there's still no accountability being taken on that end. Like, I have to say, when I came on this podcast, I think it was my first or second podcast, and I talked about a friendship that I had back in college that was so important to me. And I talked about the deterioration of that friendship and how it affected me and how I was so sad about it and just everything about that. That friend hit me up that next day or two was like, yo, I listened to your podcast. I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I listened to your podcast and I would love to sit down and have a conversation about what went down and like how our friendship went down. Respect. Are me and that person besties and we're friends now? No, but I think there is a sense of respect there. I gained so much respect for that person because not everybody would do that. The fact that she was even still supporting me by listening to my podcast, and the fact that like she had enough respect for me to sit me down and us to have a conversation, I gained so much respect for that person. So now when I used to look back at that situation and I looked at it and I was sad and I looked back at it with probably other emotions. Now I look back at it and it's still sad, but I look back at it and I'm like, but I respect her. I respect her so much. Like, there's so much respect there for her, and I feel like she has respect for me, and there's a mutual respect for each other. So if I see her out in Walmart or whatever, we're gonna conversate now instead of acting like each other don't exist. We're gonna speak to each other. We're gonna acknowledge each other. I'm gonna like her post. She's gonna like my story. There's respect there, and I think we, to her, I'm really gonna give all the credit to her because I don't think I ever was gonna reach out, but for her to do that, I respect her so much, and like I still care for her. I still care for her immensely, and we have that mutual respect there. We're not best friends, and we don't hang out, and we don't talk on the phone like we used to, but there's a respect there. Love that. I appreciate that so much. If you're listening, I appreciate that. With Girly Pop, okay, that the situation that I just went through, the fact that there's no accountability. They think they're perfect. They think they did nothing wrong. And the way they're speaking about the situation, I think is what makes me more angry because it's like, okay, you're crazy. Like, you're tripping now. You're really tripping. Like, I I am not a crazy person. Like, and to ruin who I am and to ruin like the type of person that I am by slandering it really pisses me off and really makes my blood boil. But what can you do with people like that? But I think at the end of the day, I've learned a lot of lessons from this. A lot of lessons. A lot. Okay? I think I cried once about the situation. I think I was in the car with my two friends and we were just talking about it, and right before I got fired, probably like a couple days before. And we were just like talking about the situation before the friendship really deteriorated. I was with my two other friends, and I think they were just telling me certain things that really hurt my feelings because I'm also very emotional. I come off very headstrong, opinionated, not afraid of confrontation, and I am. But when I feel like I care about you and I put you on that whiteboard in my brain of people I care about and you hurt my feelings, I do get sad. I am emotional. I hate it, but I am because I feel like I was so vulnerable with you and I cried a little bit. But then afterward, those cries went away. Pure rage, okay? The rage has gone. Hi, Mr. Rage. The rage is gone. I think I'm just annoyed. I remember not my young adult mentor, pastor, I don't know what you want to call it. he asked me, he was like, is there forgiveness there? Like, are you, and I'm like, yo, I'm not ready to forgive at all. It's so fresh, you know, and it's fine. I think people want you to forgive so fast. People feel like forgiveness is just something you hand out. It's crazy. And they even were saying stuff like that, like, forgive. Like, no, no. I don't have to forgive somebody right away after they just did me dirty. It will probably take me months, years to forgive. Probably. And if it does, that's for me and God to figure out, and that's just what it is. I don't want to hold on to any anger, but I'm not going to forgive you just for the sake of forgiveness. Yes, people are owed forgiveness, but you also can do it in your own time. And I'm not ready to forgive, and even when I do forgive, I never forget. Best believe. I never forget. Because you can fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You will never have another opportunity to fool me again. Okay? And I feel like in this situation, it was a fool me once, shame on you, and then fool me twice, fool on me, shame on me. But when I tell you, they will never get another opportunity to shame on me ever. Ever. They won't get that opportunity because I can forgive you from afar. And I don't gotta tell you I forgave you. I can forgive you from afar and know that, it sits right in my heart and move on. But I will never forget. Ever. Ever. Because that would be fake of me to do. And, the word fake comes up a lot because that's just, I feel like, what they wanted me to be, which was fake. And just get over it. And that's just not me. Like, no. I am 24 years old. I am so sure of myself more than I was when I was 23, and I was 23 like a month ago. I'm way more sure of myself. I so much know who I am. I'm not going to. And I'm happy. At the end of the day, I think how I reacted in that situation, there's certain times where I think I could have reacted better. I think emotions really got the best of me. But I think overall, I'm happy with how I handled that situation. I stood up for myself. I had my boundaries. I was not going to cross my boundaries for anybody. I was not going to disrespect myself and my boundaries for other people's happiness. I wasn't going to do it. Call me selfish, call me prideful, I don't care. I respect myself more than I respect anybody. And I love my family, I love my friends, but I will always respect myself more than anybody. And as you should too. You should have way more respect for yourself than anybody else. Because at the end of the day, I have to live with myself, and I'm gonna walk away from a situation to be myself 100% of the time. And I'm happy how I handled it. Of course, there were times where I could have handled it better, but I'm happy overall of me standing on my ground and standing for what I believe in. I just think I need to work on, even if they're people I care about, even though it's people that I love. People show you who they are. See it, notice it, take it. Believe them. Cuz I don't want another fool me twice, shame on me. Because I peeped it and I knew that you were kind of strange and you were moving weird, but I decided to look past it. But I'm not going to do that anymore. So I think, I didn't really go in depth about the situation because I think it's just still fresh and it still hurts. And not everybody knows that I was fired. But your girl got a new job, so it's fine. I'm still making money. It's all good. But, I think I didn't really know how to talk about the situation, but I think I handled it well and it was fine. But yeah, y'all, it's been crazy. But I guess overall, respect yourself, y'all. Your boundaries mean something, and don't ever disrespect yourself or your boundaries for somebody else's comfortability. Ever. Who cares if they're uncomfortable? Who cares? At the end of the day, And I've learned a lot from a lot of things, but I'm really taking a lot from that. And what really sucks is that I just feel like I just come to I care for people a lot, and people just don't care for me the way I care for them, which hurts, but it is what it is. We live, learn, and we keep it going. But yeah, I don't know if any of this made sense. I kind of rambled a little bit, but you know, respecting yourself and respecting your boundaries is something that I learned, and I'm okay with that. And then also to take people for what they are. Please. Because I hate when things come back and I'm like, dang, and I knew it. And I knew something was strange, and I still just let it happen. Keep who you are, and God will be with you. Your true friends will stick with you, and you'll know who your real friends are real fast. Real fast. Okay? The reason, that's just how it is. I'm not gonna fake the funk to keep a friendship. I will never do that. I respect myself way too much. I may cover stuff up a little bit or act like I don't see it, or no, I may, kind of push things to the side, but I'll never fake the funk to keep anything. So I'm too real for that. But yeah, we didn't even get to talk about Love Island. I'm almost an hour in, and I didn't even really get to talk about Love Island. Let's talk about it a little bit. The final is on Sunday, which is tomorrow. But when you watch this, it'll be yesterday. Let's hope Trinity and Bryce win it all. Let's hope Trinity and Bryce win it all. I do want to say, for Melanie to still be in this villa with Sincere, crazy. What Melanie's mom said was probably one of the most banger bar things I've ever heard someone say. She said, "Why do you continue?" She said something like this: "Why do you continue to give somebody second chances when there's somebody out there waiting for their first?" Bar. I had to rewind it because it was so good. And you know what? Melanie decided to, even after everything her mother said, after everything her sister said, she still decided to stick by this man. And I'm sorry, she will get embarrassed in the real world. When this is over, and it is over, she will get embarrassed. To have this man sit in your face talk about, "I want you to be the mother of my children." You just met him 6 weeks ago. Please be so for real. 6 weeks. You just met him six weeks ago, and he dogged on you all 6 weeks. Like, please be so for real. But you know what, guys? I hate saying this, but a bird will be a bird. Okay? And when you have your mind set on something, your mama could tell you, your sister could tell you, your doctor could tell you, anybody could tell you, if you believe you're in the right thing, you're going to stick in it. And I hope for Melanie's sake that it goes fine, but I think her sister's right. Sincere's going to hold her back. Sincere is going to hold her back, and it's not going to last long. They might be together for the reunion. I don't think they will. They possibly will. But if they're not, are we surprised? I won't be surprised when I see the headline of Melanie and Sincere from Love Island break up. I won't be surprised. I don't think they'll ever be together. I just don't think it'll work. I think Melanie knows it really won't work either. Melanie just wants to, I think they want to prove people wrong so much. And Sincere's dad claps to him. His stepdad claps to him. I love when a man tells another man the truth. I feel like girls, I feel like we really tell each other the truth, and I feel like guys, I don't know, I feel like y'all sugarcoated a lot. And his dad was like, "I didn't raise this. I didn't travel 7,000 miles to put up with this behavior, nor was I going to come and travel for this fast or this far for this." And he really told Sincere how he was moving and how it was crazy. And I respect that. And I just hope Melanie wakes up one day and realizes that Sincere is not the one. But yeah, that's about it. I've talked for a long time. Has been my probably one of my longest podcasts in a minute, but I had a lot to talk about. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I missed talking with ya. Please talk to me back, please, yappers. I miss you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next Monday. Pieces and blessings. Bye, guys.